This is Tim. We're going to talk about presence. We're going to talk about presence in sales. We're going to talk about presence when it comes to making money because a lot of you that are sales reps have these income limits where you're at 3K, 4K, 5K in commissions month over month. And you know that there's a 10 to 15, 20K mark that you can hit. And you're at a ceiling and you haven't broken past that ceiling. And for a lot of sales reps, what they're missing is presence. And I mean a lot. And this happens when you start to get competent. You start to reach that level of competence where it's like, I know what I'm doing and I understand how to run a discovery. I understand how to run a call at a basic level. And you think you know what you're fucking doing, when in actuality, you're lacking presence. And because you lack presence, you then don't have the positioning in a conversation or in a sales call to use the actual skill set you do have and maximize that skill set to close at a 40% clip and make 10, 15, 20K plus per month with the top performers that I've trained you. I'm here in a beautiful Zen Buddhist monastery temple area outside of Kyoto, on the outskirts of Kyoto, and we're going into different temples, just checking out the gardens and the space and the energy here, and it's so still. I almost felt weird making this video because I was like, should I talk sales and money? But there was a really good lesson here that I wanted to share with you guys, and it's three pieces: how to build presence. Because one of the things that I've been able to do in my sales journey is craft a great deal of presence for myself and how I sit on my calls. Those of you who have come into protocols and have been closed by me know this. Those of you who have been closed by our sales team, by Frank, and our people know this. That that the way we communicate is through a great deal of presence. It feels effortless. It feels like at a certain point, it's not even sales. So I'm going to communicate to you three ideas or three strategies you can use to make this happen for yourself as a sales rep, because it's going to break you past those income limits where you're at 5K per month and really help you maximize your skill set and your ability to have conversations and lead people. The first thing is sitting still. Okay, this is number one. The first tool of presence as a sales rep is learning how and being comfortable with the idea of, or not even the idea, but the act of sitting still. Sitting still means a lot of times when you start to learn sales and you realize, okay, I need to handle objections, I need to get compliance, I need to lead the call, right? You tend to sacrifice the stillness of just having a dialogue between yourself and a person. Imagine that you're with a friend, you're in a bar, you guys are going and playing pool, whatever you do with your friends, and you guys are chilling, and your friend's going through something real deep. You being a good friend, if you've developed this skill, if you're a shit friend, then you won't be able to do this. But if you're a good friend, you'll sit and you'll listen to your friend. There's no agenda on your mind. It's not like, what will I say next to what my friend tells me now? So what you're doing is you're sitting still, listening to and creating a space with your friend. On sales calls, you want to recreate the same thing. You want to recreate the exact same energy. And a lot of sales reps don't do this. What a lot of sales reps do is they'll think, how do I get to the next place in the call? And that disrupts their presence, that disrupts their ability to actually sit with the prospect. So one of the things I train my guys to do, especially when they hit level 3 in our program, which is a higher level of competence, when they start to hit these higher levels, we specifically tell them, start to sit still and not think, what am I going to say next? What's going to be the next stage in the call? How do I handle what this person just gave me? What do I do next? Instead, we remove that and we say, how can we just sit? How can we sit with what the person's giving us? And the next point I'm going to give you, which is listening, is going to tie into this. But how can we sit in a space of stillness, in a space of calm, in a space of presence, right? And how can we create from that place of stillness and sitting energy where the prospect is more likely to feel this natural space of give and take? That allows you to handle objections better, by the way. That allows you to lead the interaction better. That allows you to lead the sales dynamic better when you're having that stillness on a call. So sit still. You can't be thinking 1, 2 steps ahead, because that kills presence. That's the worst thing you could do. What am I going to say here? What am I going to say there? What am I going to do next? The second piece, and this might sound like it's the same thing, but it's different, it's listening, learning to become a listener. Sitting still just means I'm not looking forward to the next thing I'm going to say, right? When you're learning objections, it's very easy to do that. You know some kind of protocol, as we teach protocols. You know some kind of scripting to handle a partner, or something to handle fear. So what you do is you try to jump ahead, and you're like, okay, when they say this, I'm going to do this next. But just sitting still, that's one, and then listening, learning how to be perceptive of what people are giving you and where they're giving you information from. I'll give you an example. Let's say that someone gives you an objection and they say, I need to talk to my wife before buying this, before investing in this program, before investing in the offer. I need to, let's say it's a funding offer. Okay. You guys help businesses acquire funding, or you help entrepreneurs acquire funding, 100K in funding. They invest 6K with you guys. You give them funding and business coaching. Like, I need to go talk to my wife because I need to see if this is a good idea just based on expenses that have been coming out right now. That is a very different positioning of that objection. Then I need to go talk to my wife just because things have really, really been hectic. We're going through a lot of changes, just life wise, moving and a bunch of things. So I need to go sit with her and talk to her about where we're at with things. You see the difference? If you're not in a space of stillness and you're not sitting still, combined with not listening, you're going to miss that. And what you're going to do is you're going to go down, you're going to send in a call review. Well, if you're my client, if you're in protocols, we would handle it together. But if you're not in proper sales training, if you're in some 2-bit program, or if you're not training at all, what'll happen is you'll wonder, you're like, I had a great conversation, a good discovery. I know what to do on my sales calls. You're going to close at 25%, 20% maybe. You'll get bounced off the offer. You'll hop from offer to offer, not really performing the way you could. The reason is because you don't have presence, and this is happening over and over at scale. So if you take 50 to 80 calls a month and you are lacking presence, you're lacking the stillness, you're lacking listening skills on your calls, you're burning and crashing money. That consistently, you're literally throwing money in the trash and lighting it on fire. This is the second level of presence, becoming a listener and hearing and being perceptive to what people are saying. But the only way you can be present is if you are still. Because when you're not still, when you're in a state of what do I do next, movement, 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 you're less likely to be perceptive of what you're being given in the present moment. AKA, again, see how it all comes back on itself and it collapses? Presence. Right. The third and final principle is creating space. I want to create space for my prospects to invest in the conversation, in the dialogue, in the process of them being led to a better outcome. When I'm on an offer, when I'm closing, when I'm running calls, I mean, our offer, the way we run things and we do our demos is like, I tell my reps, the people I train, the offers I consult for, I never ever want them to be in a position where they're closing the prospect's ability to invest. Right? I never want them to be in that position. I always want them to be in a position where the prospect is equally willing to invest in the dialogue as much as you are as a closer. Right? So the lack of presence would be where the prospect is unable to actually feel like they can be vulnerable, that they can be open, that they can be real, because there's no space you've created for them to invest in the conversation. So as an example, me creating space would be if I get, let's say, something in discovery and some guy tells me, let's use this offer. I'll give an objection or a frame that a lot of you, not all of you, that some of you have that's not helping you and is cooking you right now. I just need to get on a good offer first, and then I work on my skill set after I'm on the offer. Okay, like that's one. And I hear people say, yeah, I just need to get on a good offer. Instead of me just jumping all over that and me just trying to handle it and be like, no, you don't need to get on a good offer. That's not what it is. Instead, are we good as this car comes? Yeah, I think we got room. All right, instead of me saying, no, you don't need to get on a good offer, because I don't know if that's the case. Maybe they do. Instead, I'm going to say, tell me more. Why do you feel like for you, the only thing you need right now, or the first thing is just to have good leads handed to you without your skills being where they need to be? Why do you feel like that's the only thing you need? Right? Me saying that is me creating space. That question is not innocent. It's a negatively framed question. If you watch my videos on reframing objections and pre-framing objections, then you'll know what I'm doing there, right? But when I ask this question, my logic it's designed for their logic to fall apart, but it's creating an open dialogue. So questions like, tell me more. I'm just curious, what do you mean when you say that? Or how do you feel there? And I'm just asking this to see if I can help. Tell me where you're coming from. Tell me if you disagree. All of these moments of dialogue that I'm using that are very open-ended are actively designed to create space for the prospect to invest. That's what they're created for, right? And it's very important that as a sales rep, again, I'll end with this, you develop a high level of presence, because that gives you fuel, that gives you ammunition, that gives you power, right? Closing through power, not force. As I talked about in another training, closing through power, not force. It gives you the power to take your calls to where you need to be. And that, my friend, is where your cash is going to come from. That's where your freedom is going to come from. Creating a lot of presence. And this is what stops a lot of closers from being okay or average to being great. And as a result, being at 3, 5, maybe 6K per month in commissions to being 12, 15, 20, 25K, as some of our top guys are per month earners. The difference oftentimes is presence. I won't say it's always presence, because there's other things in skill set that do matter. So I don't want you to think I'm like presence is the only thing, but it's a huge component of sales. And almost every single sales rep that I've trained has missed a degree of presence that if they developed that, it would have taken them to the level where they could have changed their entire lives. And then they did. A lot of our reps have learned that. You know, guys like Jabari that I just put on the channel, guys like Jabari, guys like Sati, like our top people, they've trained and they've built presence. Okay, so I'll leave you with that. I'm gonna end this here. But you know, there, if you want me to help you, there's two ways you can. You can go book a free strategy call down below. It's 15 minutes. It's free. Or you can go join our what is the name of our list protocols newsletter. There we go. You can join that. My girl's giving me weird eye contact behind the camera now, so it's throwing me off presence. Normally I'm present, but she's the only one who can make me non-present. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to my vacation, as the protocols boys call it here in Japan. Goodbye, my friends. I will talk to you later. I'll see you on the next one. We'll be back in the usual apartment setup soon. A couple more days in Tokyo, in Japan. See you guys next time.